the end of our 12th day of walking today from Frómista up here to Carrión de los Condes. And it's been a 19-kilometre walk. The weather's been good. The rain tried to come as we were completing, but it just held off until we got here to this monastery of San Zoilo. San Zoilo was a martyr from the 4th century, and his relics are reputed to be here, along with those of some other significant people along the way. Hence the name San Zoilo Monastery. This place has been built from the initially 10th century, but the monastery itself is of more recent years, 4 or 5 centuries old. Quite spectacular. But our journey, our walk today, coming out of Frómista, we stopped by the church of San Martin. Unfortunately, it was closed. Now, I think I mentioned that the Church of San Martin was it is the one of the most restored and perfect examples of Romanesque architecture. It was built in the 11th century, restored at the beginning of the 20th century, and is just wonderful. Unfortunately, we couldn't go in this time and sit and meditate, but I just really encourage pilgrims passing through. It opened at 10 a.m. Interestingly, that is related also to this monastery here, built by the same people, the Clun division or part of the Benedictines. So we made our way out of Frómista, and I guess you would have to say it was perhaps one of the most boring walks. So I don't like to use that word because every day has got something significant in Camino. So we walked out of Frómista along the side of a major road, again to a small town that we made our way through, and from then we were walking through fields again until we came to the Rio Ucieza. I don't know how to pronounce that, but Ucieza. And we walked 5 kilometres along that. Now, just a tip for pilgrims: you come to a town which is called Villa Montero de Campos, and there's a choice to go up to that town. There's 2 arrows, that way to the left, or to keep going along the river. Last time there wasn't that option. In 2018, when we walked it, you could only go up via the town and then continue walking along the major road. We had a much better walk along the river. Clearly it has been, the track has been re-established for pilgrims. They've built wooden bridges over the irrigation outlets from the river into the fields. And it was just a very beautiful walk alongside the river with the golden poplars again, and just looking at the rush of the river. As a matter of fact, because visually the Camino today was perhaps very repetitive, I became more aware of the sound of the wind just whisking through the poplars and through the trees. It was a gentle breeze, and it was just a beautiful rustle of the leaves as we walked. The other thing, of course, was the river, the trickle of the river. As it flowed quite rapidly downstream, it was, you could just hear the river dancing and licking the shore or the edge along the way. Hearing also birds. You probably can't hear now, but there's a crow in the background here. We saw and heard crows along the way. And I guess the other thing I've got to be honest about, the sound, was the sound of the wheel of the cart. The cart, as James pulled it when I was walking with him, could hear that. When we arrived here, the sound was beautifully just wrapped up with Gregorian chant just being played through at the entrance to the monastery and the pilgrim centre. So this place still cares for pilgrims, and over the centuries, again, it has been a hospice for pilgrims where the Benedictines looked after the pilgrims who would pass by here. Our breakfast this morning was just high carb. I had a snail, James had a chocolate roll, and we had a couple of coffees. So when we got to Villa de Casar de Surga, along the way, we were so grateful to be able to sit down in a cafe there and have a steak and egg and salad. That just replenished us for the day. It was only another 6 kilometres on until we arrived here at this amazing monastery. Spiritually, today, as I said, focusing more on sound rather than the visual effect of the Camino. But we also looked at the 8th exercise of St. Ignatius today. The point, the spiritual point from today is just taking that time for colloquy. That is at the end of a time of prayer where you've been reading the word, where you've just been sitting with Jesus and either you've come to a point where, wow, that particular verse just grabbed you, and that was what it was that you stopped and nourished your soul on. At the end, Ignatius says, enter into colloquy, which is enter into just a conversation with Jesus, just reflecting with him about what it was that you saw in the passage. The passage today was Jesus meeting Zacchaeus as he came into Jericho. I was particularly struck by this small man who just wanted to see Jesus, as it was pointed out in the exercise. Zacchaeus is the one in of all the Gospels who sought least of Jesus. He wasn't looking for healing. He wasn't looking for anything like that, even an audience. He merely wanted to see Jesus from a distance. But he was a small man, and I was just taken by his smallness. And he ran ahead, of course, and climbed the sycamore tree. And Jesus walked by and looked up, saw him, and summoned him, Zacchaeus, I must eat at your place today. So, it was just, that's all we need. But we come even in our smallness. I mean, Zacchaeus in the town had a reputation for being anything but small, I think. Very, self-important as a tax collector or whatever. But the point was, in stature he was small, and in soul he was very small. But Jesus, in his smallness, called him. Isn't that wonderful? We can feel inadequate, we can feel weak, we can feel far less than, unworthy, all of those things. But as we want to gaze upon Jesus, he too says to us, come. I want to sup with you today. I want to come in to meet with you. And to bring transformation, because that's what he brought to Zacchaeus. So my colloquy, now I guess James and my colloquy today with Jesus was, well, Lord, yeah, here we are in our smallness. Lord, we want to meet with you and ask indeed for more of that deep transformation, that same transformation that you brought to Zacchaeus. Well, that's it for today. Here we are in the cloister of St. Zoilo, and you can just see the magnificent carving. Up there are various people's faces just caught in the carvings. Just how magnificent is this convent, yes. So God bless you, this monastery. Thank you for joining today, and look forward to day 13 tomorrow.